for you. We're here to help you do what you need to do. We're here to help you turn your lives around because we love you.
Right.
Because we love you, and more importantly, Jesus Christ loves you. And these are not worthless people. We are not judged by our sin. Right. We're judged by who we are in Christ, and it's a very, very important message to get across.
That's right. When I was I graduated from the New York Theological Seminary, and one of the things that was our mantra was, "To whom much is given, much is received."
Yes. Yes.
We felt that, particularly my class and the classes before and after us, we felt that we were given this amazing opportunity to be educated on a graduate level,
yes.
but at the same time being educated in God's message.
Yes.
And we felt that we had a great responsibility. And by far, I could say that probably 85% of the graduates, they go out and they get into areas of human repair, where they can actually do what they're supposed to do and give back. This happens to be mine. I fell into this.
Yeah.
You know, I'll say I fell into this, but I
understand.
believe that God said, "Hey, I'm gonna put you over here." You know what I'm saying?
I think
so. I think that it's very important.
Yes.
For it to be a give and take, because
yes.
once you give the light to somebody, then there's an expectation that they carry it on.
Absolutely.
So, this is really great.
Yes.
In addition to the Bible studies that you have, you also have a mentoring program.
That's right.
Could you tell us a little bit about the mentoring program?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the Department of Corrections instituted a program a few years ago called Faith and Reentry. And what they wanted to do was invite the faith community into Rikers Island to mentor men and women who are there for short terms.
Right.
And the program, what they wanted to do was establish a point of contact for those who would be returning to their communities and have them connect with a person of faith, so that that person, of course, could be a point of contact for them.
Right.
So every Friday morning, I and along with two other women on my team, we go to Rose M. Singer, and we mentor a group of women, and Reverend Michael, of course, and his team, Anthony, being a part of that. They go to EMTC to mentor the men. And this program has just been absolutely divine. The women are... It's unbelievable to see the hope that they have now, that they know when they come out, that there's someone there that they can pick up the phone and call. And I think, Ernest, that is so important, and that will help to, of course, stem that tide of recidivism when they are anchored with someone who's a part of the faith community, or if they have strong family support.
Right.
But oftentimes they lose that once they've been in prison for any length of time. Right. And so we want to be that support for them when they come out. So we are in the process of meeting with one of our state senators, and he's helping us to get our hope and our next major project that we are trying to bring about is a transitional home for women when they come out. Now that I'm there at Rosie with them every Friday morning, I see the need. These are women in their 30s and 20s. They have no place to go when they come out. So that's one of our projects that we are hoping to be able to have and provide for them a transitional home when they come out as a place of contact. So this, in answer to your question, this mentoring program is really a very good way of getting the women and the men, connected to the faith community at church. And of course, we will be responsible for helping them get involved in a church and just kind of helping them get back on their feet. But with a Christian, with a spiritual foundation, which we feel is what would sustain them more than just going out there and feeling their way, and trying to find their way, there's a place where they can come to, or people that they can come to,
Right,
to help them
to have
transition back into the community.
Yeah, and look, we've had some tremendous success sitting with these men and women on a more or less a one-on-one basis, because when you're able to focus on an individual and really help them with their issues, they can really turn their lives around. And we've got I can think of 4 people just right off the top of my head where we were mentoring one woman for quite some time. She's out reunited with her daughter. She's working for a dentist out in the island, doing a fantastic job. There was a young man who we spent quite a bit of time with, who lost his family, lost everything, but he's pulling it back together. He's working at the Bowery Mission.
Okay.
As you said, just going back in and repairing people. Right. That same, somebody repaired me, I'm going to go back out and repair others. There's a gentleman who was did some time here, got out, moved down to Florida. I speak to him on a regular basis. He's in the process of getting a new job. I'm his referral. Right? So, the relationship continues. And then lastly, I just had the privilege of being ordained in my church, and I had my family and my friends there, but I'll tell you what, one of the most special guests was a formerly incarcerated man who we had sown, into, was there with his girlfriend. He's working. He's got his life back on track. He's off, drugs were an issue of his. He's off drugs and been clean, and it was just beautiful. It was just really beautiful.
Yeah. But it just goes to show how what you guys are doing are impacting the lives of these people when they come back.
Yes.
And because they don't have to, they go, they got their stuff together, they got a job, and they can just go here. But they come back because there's something here that's fueling them.
Yes.
So when they come back to you, it's a sign that you have something that they have to tap into to keep it going.
Yes.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Speaking of people coming back, this is a segue into the question that I had asked you initially. Give me an account of one of the or a couple of the people that you mentored or you met or you worked with while they were in Rikers Island that got out and maybe they became ordained, maybe they became a part of a church, they became a member of your church. Give me a story. I like stories. We like stories.
Okay, I have one for you, Ernest.
Okay.
He was actually, I might even say he was the impetus of this entire prison ministry, the catalyst that God used, because he was really the very first person that I worked with that I realized this is evolving into a ministry. I'm not just coming here teaching. Now I'm going to court with him and appearing in court just to support him, and I'm writing him letters, and I'm reaching out to his mother, and then I realized something is happening here. Well, he was sentenced. I wrote a letter to the judge on his behalf, and I had the audacity to state how much time I thought he should get, because because he was not a violent, offender, and I stated that I thought he should get only 3 years. And I told his lawyer, and the judge read my letter, and but they sentenced him to 5 years. Well, Ernest, I was getting ready to go out to speak. I had a speaking engagement. My telephone rang, and it's this young man. His name was Martin. And I said, Martin, did you escape? He said, no, Reverend Lula, it's been 3 years. I got out. It's 3 years. Remember? I had forgotten what I said to the judge. And Martin came home. He moved to Long Island. He got married. He said that he joined the choir.
Wow.
And I was so elated to hear that he was really on, of course, that's been years ago, 20 years ago, nearly 20 years ago. But that was a great success story that he got out in the 3 years, and he went on to join the church and get married. And, I pray that he's still doing well. But that was a great success story. But one in-house success story that we have, one Sunday we were ministering on an Easter Sunday, and another woman was on our team, Carol, was ministering, and we didn't know who was sitting. We don't know who's sitting in our audience in the chapel. But we received a 2-page letter from a high-ranking member of the Bloods. Can I say that?
Yes.
Yes, of the Bloods. And he said that there was something about us and our ministry on that Sunday that made him come to that place finally where he was struggling for years, and he wanted to turn his life around, and the very next day he did. And now he's been enrolled in our program for about 2 years, and he sent me the most beautiful Mother's Day card ever that he had designed just for me with my name embossed on it and my name raised letters. And he said to me, "Thank you for making a difference in my life." And for someone who had been in that lifestyle for almost 20 years and took a stand on that particular Sunday and said, "Now I want to begin following Christ," by virtue of us being there and presenting the gospel of Jesus Christ, I'm sure that his life has impacted others of that same era. So that's another tremendous success. Unfortunately, he's still there, but he's still in touch with us through our Bible study program. And we regularly, write to him, and he writes to us, and we find that he's still on that path of going, straight ahead with his life and no longer part of that old lifestyle. So that was tremendously meaningful to us, that our ministry has affected, someone who's had that kind of lifestyle for over 20 years.
Right. That's amazing. And I think that a lot of men, when they go in, one of the issues is that they don't have positive role models.
Absolutely.
and or they don't have people who are upstanding people show that they care about
That's
them.
right. Absolutely.
Martin Luther King said love is the only thing.
Powerful.
Love.
Very powerful.
Because I've seen it inside penitentiary myself.
Yes.
You could be violent, but if somebody comes with love and unadulterated love, I mean, all of that anger and violence just melts.
Absolutely.
I've seen it. I bear witness to it.
Yes.
And it's just amazing.
Wonderful.
Let me hit one story. Let me hit one story for
Give us
that.
two.
Well, let me hit one specifically on that, because it's interesting. The power of love. The power of love. Look, incarceration doesn't just affect the men and women that go away. As we know, it affects the families as well, right? So 1 year we were participating in an angel tree, giving gifts to the children of the incarcerated. Right, we actually had a party in Queens, and it was a fantastic time. But I had written to a gentleman upstate just to say, "Hey, want you to know, we delivered gifts to your kids, and everything went well." So I just wanted him to be, up to speed, so to speak. And then I just said, sometimes you just got to listen to the urging of the Holy Spirit. I said, "Well, listen, I'm happy to stay in contact with you if you're interested." Now, I don't know this guy from Adam. We never met him through the ministry. It was just we got his name, his kids' names, and so he's upstate, and we write him. And I received a letter back. Now, I wasn't really expecting it, but I received a letter back, and it's interesting. He's like, "Yeah, no, thanks a lot, but you can write me if you want." It's kind of like that, right? If you want, right? If you feel like it. So I did, and we start writing and writing and writing, and it goes on for about 18 months. And it's interesting. He goes from being you can write me if you want, to writing me, all sorts of, intimate details of what he is wrestling with, what he's struggling with, what brought him there, what he's done there, what he feels like he has to do there, and why he wants none of it. And he ultimately reveals to me that he's an enforcer for one of the gangs. Okay, so you want to talk about violence and how love overcomes violence. So he reveals that to me, and I'm like, "Dear Lord, how do I find myself here? I'm not equipped to." But God just said, just stay at it. And eventually he said, "That's it. I'm out. I'm done. I'm turning my back on it." And I'll never forget the day when I'm in church and I just feel this massive presence behind me. This guy was huge, man. And I turn around, and there he is.
Wow.
And we just hugged and cried. And he's living a life. Now, I don't see him in church as much as I want. But I know he's clean, and I know he's caring for his family. I know he's caring for his kids. So to go from an enforcer to being home and living clean life and being straight with your kids is a big deal. And love overcomes all.
That's
Love
right.
overcomes violence. And you were talking about everything that's going on in this world
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And there's only one thing, that we need, or two things. We need Jesus, and we need His love.
Yeah.
And that'll overcome all.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe that. So I understand that you guys also, Reverend Lula, you said that you write letters to the parole board and to the judges in instances where
With discretion. We don't want
Right.
anyone to run.
Somebody that you know,
Yes,
you-
who's
you've
been a part of our
established something.
program
Yeah. Mhm.
for at least 2 years, and we've been consistently in touch with them, in contact with them, and they have been in contact with us. So we don't just arbitrarily just write
Write a letter,
letters.
right,
No,
right.
we
You
have
can't
to
do
have
that, yeah.
a little history of you, and know that you have certainly changed before we put our name on.
Right.
Please, I'll give this person a second chance.
Right.
But one of the gentlemen who went home just last year, he attended. We celebrated our 20th anniversary at the Marriott last year, and we had one of our participants, our ex-offenders there, as our special guest, and he surprised us because he told our guests, over 70 people, that he went back to court to support another brother. And this brother lifted up our certificates to the judge and our letters showing that how much these particular program that we offered had changed his life. And he said, I don't know if that had any bearing on the judge's decision, but he said his sentence was certainly reduced. So, enroll in our program here again, and you'll be surprised to know how far it might take you. It might just be a tool that you could use,
Right.
to show that there is some rehabilitation or programs that you've been involved in that has helped you to, get on that straight and narrow path.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's the Reach Out and Touch Prison Ministry, and their address is P.O. Box 120249, St. Albans, New York 11412.
Absolutely.
So if you want to get in contact with Reverend Lula and Reverend Michael and the rest of their great team, just send them a letter. Reach Out and Touch Prison Ministry, P.O. Box 120249, St. Albans, New York 11412.
And if they're listening and have a relative, a family member, a loved one involved, they can certainly call our office if they don't want to write us or send us an email. Our phone number, our office number is 718-464-0787. Again, that's 718-464-0787. That is for families of loved ones who are incarcerated who would like to get in touch with us. Feel free to call us Monday through Thursdays, 9:30 to 4 p.m. We're open 4 days a week at that time.
Okay.
We do not accept collect calls. Sorry.
All right. So you heard that now. So you have a lot of interaction with lawyers, judges, and correction officers. Tell us how that interaction has been with assisting the people in Rikers Island and people inside the prison. Has it been fairly easy? Have you gone against any resistance or anything of that nature with your ministry?
Well, when you say a lot of interaction with them, it's rare. It's not often that we do interact with lawyers, judges, etc. We receive a lot of letters asking us to write to the parole board, and of course we check our records to see how long an individual has been enrolled in our program. That's the first thing that we do, and then we discuss it, and then we'll form a letter based on the relationship that we've had and what we've experienced by virtue of them either being a part of our services when we are at Rikers or remaining remaining in our program after they've gone upstate. And so to that end, we would consider writing a letter for them. Sometimes we've been asked to contact lawyers. You know, of course, Department of Correction has rules and regulations as to the degree in which we can get involved with. So we definitely abide by their rules and regulation, and we're limited as to how much we can do in terms of, relatives and, passing. We don't get involved